guys and gals? Never here from Drake Wayne Gaming and Sunny Mountain Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Stardust Kids. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Maybe he will find new friends fast and he'll forget about me and Romano. He always made new acquaintances. I don't want that. Good that Romano is near. It'd be much worse without him. I'm falling apart. Not cool at all. I slowly and deeply breathed in and similarly slowly breathed out. 4 years of high school are waiting for me ahead. This time shouldn't be wasted. I should focus on studies, not on club activity. Although, in our case, it's more like a self-activity. After I find the planetarium, or I won't find it, I shouldn't count on it. I got so fixated on this thing that I completely lost sight of something really important. I was told Seth off for his idleness, but without him the club is not the same. Maybe I should leave the UFO Studies Club. We've begun this together, and there's no desire to continue without Seth. It was he who convinced me to join such a weird place. No, I mustn't think so. I won't drop it at the first sign of trouble. The guys need me. They need me, right? I don't want to believe at all that in fact nobody needs anything, that nobody needs me. And if earlier I could always return to Seth, then now I can return only into the empty dark room where nobody is waiting for me. Ooh. Oh, I got the bad end? Huh. Okay, so that was the bad end. Alrighty. Huh. Alright, where did I go wrong? Well, if anything, being alone might teach him to be a bit more self-sufficient. Not a bad trait to have. Alright, let's see. Bonus. Progress. Okay, let's see. One-way ticket. That's a bunch of endings. Holy shit. What was this choice? Alright, so... I wonder what will happen if we stop the audio. Okay, we're gonna go back and do this one. After all, I mustn't listen to it. I hurried to turn the file off. Sitting a bit in silence, I remembered the second voice. I have heard it only a few times, but I don't think I'm wrong. It belongs to her school psychologist. If I didn't meet him together with Roma, I could hardly tie it together. Romano consults with him. Then why did he lie to me when I asked about their meeting? And why is he keeping these records? Unlikely for the psychologist, he is able to record the conversation himself. Looking at Romano, it's impossible to suggest that he's feeling bad. He always smiles and talks, always ready to come to help, despite needing it himself. I looked at the folder. Pretty many files. How long have they been meeting? Why didn't Roma tell us anything? Was he afraid that we wouldn't understand? Or, sure, he didn't tell only me. Seth knows, only I'm still ignorant to that. I must tell Romano that I found his records. It wouldn't be fair to say nothing and pretend that nothing has happened. I arrived at the venue a bit earlier than the appointed time. Students and adults that go to the beach are continually walking on the embankment. The figure I need wasn't among them. I clutched the phone harder. Minutes lasted so long that I regretted my early arrival. The waiting was so unbearable I began counting passers-by. 1, 2, 4, 7. You're here already? Oh, man. I went earlier, but you came first anyway. I was startled by surprise. I haven't noticed him coming at all. Here's your phone. I gave him the phone, warmed by my hands. Thank you, Kurt. He held the phone to his cheek and made such a happy face like his phone is the most precious thing he has. Don't you want to take a small walk? Well, let's go. We walked along the paved embankment. I'm like a squirrel in a wheel today. You know, I didn't want to go to the club today, but the curator called me. He needed me so much that he called the house. We get house calls only on holidays at first. At first, I didn't understand what it was that was being what was that annoying sound. Turned out that my picture suited them. The curator said that his friend editor would like to see me. Despite the fatigue, he's talking enthusiastically, actively gesticulating at the same time. I was in a real photo studio. We talked much, and I was even allowed to make a few pictures of a model. Just for practice, of course. I was given much advice. I'm not sure that I remembered everything. So cool. And yeah, my photos will surely be in a magazine. That's cool. You did a great job. I clapped him on the shoulder, but he awkwardly scratched his head. I think Armando was embarrassed by my words, although I didn't try to flatter him at all. He complimented me. Wow. So nice. And by the way, you remember swearing at me? Yeah, then in school scolded me for a cigarette. Of course I do. Aren't you gonna keep doing that? No, I'm not. It's harmful in general last century. I have a better idea. Romano held up his index finger, like asking me to wait, and searched in his bag. A moment later in his hands there was... What's that? Ta-da! Look how cool it is! I turned a strange device in my hand. So, what's that? A vape? Not a gram of nicotine, but tons of pleasure. Well? Well? How do you like it, Kurt? He took the vape back and inhaled it. The device sizzled deftly, flashing different colors. Romano breathed out, spreading clouds of steam around. Air got filled with the spicy smell of coconut. Looks suspicious. Oh, come on! It's only a flavor, propylene glycol and glycerin. Want to inhale? I'll pass, thanks. I've heard about this stuff from Seth and Roma, but I don't know if it's really safe. Doesn't look better than cigarettes, only the smell is nicer. I shall read about this on the net. Well, never mind. So, how was your day? Nothing special, although there's something I must tell you about. Sounds interesting. Tell me. I don't think you'll like this. So, I accidentally found a folder with records on your phone and opened one of them. Yeah, accidentally found and opened sounds not really plausible, but that's how it was. You visit the psychologist, right? Romano's face didn't twitch, but he just keeps smiling. Got me, huh? I didn't think anybody would get in this folder. When I noticed you with Mr. Jones, you said that you only meet because you're making pictures for him. Well, that's true. It's just not the whole truth. I didn't want you to worry. Is there a reason? Romano stopped smiling. His eyebrows furrowed and he looked at me a bit stupefied. I mean, you visited him for a reason, right? I felt insecure lately, but I feel better already. Do you? Yeah, everything's fine. He awkwardly scratched his head and smiled. Looks like he has no desire to tell me the details. Huh. Question further. But I won't leave him alone so easily. That won't do. What? Your answer won't do. Not accepted. I got into not my business, but I'm not going back. Sorry for that. Tell me what's bothering you. Maybe you'll feel better. I can't say for certain, but that probability definitely exists. Are you so curious? Yes. I mean, not really. I don't think that's just curiosity. Right now, I really worry for him. Tell you about the psychologist, huh? He looked around like he was afraid that somebody could hear us. Of course we will be heard, but I don't think somebody will stop to get into our conversation. I go to him for some time already, and, it bears fruit. It became much easier for me to understand my own thoughts. Usually I tell him about what happened over the past week. Sometimes when I'm in the right mood, melancholic, I speak about something that happened in the past. Something that made me worry much, or something that was usual and boring. And Mr. Jones always waits for me to think further and helps me direct his thought. He doesn't give ready-made solutions, but helps to get to them. It's amazing. Sometimes I think that it would be nice to go to study psychology. I like to meet new people, learn more, and help, inspire, although my heart is already occupied with photography. Do you think my heart is big enough for another hobby? He playfully winked at me. I don't think your heart can contain in itself something but blood you personally can cover really giant amounts of interests. We're completely different here. You can fly between different topics like a hummingbird, while I can focus only on one thing. But you always get to the very core. He patted me on the shoulder friendly? It must be a compliment. But I wonderfully know that Romano himself can deeply study the thing he's interested in. Even collecting Pokemons, anyone would be bored, but not he. So, from the outside, you don't look like you need a psychologist. You look so cheerful. That's because I'm really cheerful. Romano blinded me with a snow-white smile. I can be sad and dreary sometimes. I feel very bad, but it's not about life. It's about my perception. And apathy attacks me more often lately. About that, what recording did you listen to? He warily looked into my eyes, trying to read in them something only he understands. The latest? Oh, I think it was unpleasant to listen to that at all. In fact, I turned it off almost immediately. I think then I was telling him about my old school, about the move. Just thoughts, torments of a guy that doesn't know where his place is. Nothing special. He laughed, awkwardly hiding his uncertainty. So awkwardly that even I noticed that. Are you thinking about this even now? About if you have a good place? Yeah, you're right. It's hard for me to understand you because I've never thought about that. I always have a landmark. I had no need. I've always known where my place is. My life task is to raise my bar higher and higher. I was born in a family of great surgeons, and most likely I continue their business. Romano is not constrained by anything. That's great. I always feel like I'm a tumbleweed rolling somewhere on a hunch, not having any idea about where I'll get carried. Now, it's always so much, but I felt some support before custody. I knew that in case of something I could always ask questions, and I would surely receive answers. Oh, I mean, there is custody of me now, too. Are you sure you want to listen to me? Sure, otherwise this conversation wouldn't exist. Just tell me everything you think is necessary. At your own risk, buddy. Didn't Seth tell you anything about my family? Just like I thought. Seth knows about Rumble much more than I do. Like what? Well, if he told you, then you'd remember for sure. And listen, I remember the story I told next to the campfire. Italy, Agropoli, Night Walk with Father, Holiday by the Sea. I was 8 back then, and I could say that life was really happy. But in the fall, everything became not so rosy. My father was a police sergeant. He often went to the capital on business with my mom. Well, I think you understand how it happens. Some reckless driver, high speed, a dangerous stretch of highway, 4 cars tumbled. Dad and Mom weren't lucky at all. Or maybe they were. Everything ended fast. They'd have to feel pain for a long time. His face didn't change at all like he got used to tell this tragic story. However, my face surely contorted with an unpleasant surprise. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right there. Y'all in the comments, let me know if this leads to a different ending. I'm very curious about that. I'm not sure where how you can get all the different endings and such. I'm not sure how I got the fucking bad ending. Probably one of those conversations I had with Seth. I'm gonna have to change that. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. I love you all, and I shall see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!